All right. So here we are. We're playing Magic the Gathering with me in my laggy setup. It's cool. Don't worry about it because we're playing Magic, not doing anything too crazy. So here we go. Yeah, this is my Chokobo deck. Green white. It's pretty dope. The main mechanic that you want to work around is that landfall. But I basically just built it around these chocobos, which basically kept kicking my ass anytime that I would play standard. So I was like, you know what? You know what? If the other people are gonna use it, I might as well. Like, why not? You know? So here we are. Pretty dope creature. Um, Landfall, whenever land enters, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Doesn't seem very intimidating coming out as a 0/1, but the way you build that is insane. You can combine that with other cards like the side quest, which will bring you out another little green bird. Although this guy does not give you +1/+1 tokens. It's just a +1/+0 until end of turn. Although what's nice is if you can get 4 birds on the battlefield at any point in time, then it'll transform into the black chocobo, which allows you to search your library for a land, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Same landfall. Although if you already played a land, or if you played something like Terramorphic Expanse, which is one of those, like you play it and then you sacrifice it to search your library for another card. If you stack those and then you can stack this card, then you can put out 3 land technically in one turn. On the battlefield, you'll have 2 new lands, but the game will count it as 3. And so, like your chocobos here will have +3/+0, and then your little guys, your Zaz chocobos, will all gain like permanent 3+1/+1 counters. So you combine those, and then you get to round 3, and then hopefully you can play a traveling chocobo, which basically opens up the top card of your deck at all times, and then you can play any land or bird card coming off of that, which is so nice, especially if you're trying to get those 4 for this side quest. Super dope. Um, yeah, and then when you get to about 5 mana, then you want to start trying to play Chocobo's Racetrack. So by the time you're here, whenever a land enters, you create another one of these 2/2 bird tokens. So you're just building them up left and right, left and right. And yeah, so it's a bird deck. In the meantime, you're going to want to be able to draw cards, right? It's cool having all these cards in your deck. Doesn't matter if you don't have any cards to play and your board is full of mana and you're just sitting, you're just chilling. So, a few ways about going about this. One thing that I like to do is have cards that allow you to search your library for land, because when you're constantly searching your library for lands, that decreases the amount of lands in your library. Thus, it decreases the percent likelihood that the next turn you'll like draw a land. So you'll already have all the land you'll need on your board, and you're less likely to draw a land that you don't need to your hand. Super nice, but while you're just trying to build, I would usually try to go for setting out an enchantment, something like this, like stocking the pantry, which will allow you to sort of develop some form of mechanism to draw. This one's really nice because whenever you put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, then you put a supply counter on this enchantment. So then, whenever you need a card, you just pay 2, remove a supply counter, and you can just draw a card whenever you want. And that's super dope because you have cards like Saw's Chocobo, which will literally gain a +1/+1 counter every time you put a land. So, like, the pantry, stocking the pantry is super easy to do. It's like every time you play a land, this will just get a counter, and then every time you have an extra 2 mana, you just spend it, get an extra card, and like you're rolling. You're doing good. You're doing great. Um, yeah. So I think that kind of covers some of it. I think the next step is you're gonna want to go for some evasion. Like if you're playing and the other guy has some card that like you don't want to fight head on because it'll deal you some heavy damage. An evasion that is really good is Sheltered by Ghosts because you put it onto the battlefield and you enchant one of your creatures, and then your creature that you chose basically swallows another creature that your opponent controls until it's off the board. So easy way to evade a creature and help like control the board for sure. But then you can combine that with other cards like Hunter's Talent. So as soon as this guy enters the board, this enchantment, you can instantly choose one of your creatures and it deals damage to one of your enemy's creatures. That is super useful. There's a bunch of green cards like what's it called? Rabid Bite, I think. That it's just like, oh, you choose one of your creatures and it fights your opponent. And like that isn't good because you could lose your creature. And also it just ends there. Meanwhile, Hunter's Talent is a card that allows you to do that, but then it allows these like permanent buffs also, because like whenever you attack, one of your creatures is gonna get +1/+0 and trample. Huge. Also, as soon as your turn is ending, if you have a card that's 4 or greater in power, then you draw a card. And so another mechanism by which you can draw your card, take out creatures your opponent controls, and have trample. Pretty dope. And then Innkeeper's Talent, good way to get +1/+1 counters on it. And then by the time you fully level it up, anybody getting a +1/+1 counter gets +2/+2 instead. So super dope. Meanwhile, I have all of these birds. They are like 2 mana to put out, which means they're probably gonna have like 2/2 health or like 1/1 health or like super low health. Either way, these birds are probably gonna get targeted hella by like anybody with a black or red deck. And so I went ahead and threw in some Dewdrop Cure. So these guys are going to get me 2 creatures from my graveyard that have mana 2 or less. And then if I decide to gift my opponent a card, then I can have 3. And so super helpful. Super helpful. Also, Strike Force. This guy is dope because you're going to encounter a lot of people that have like um, Death Touch and things like that. And one of the best ways to take out somebody with Death Touch is with First Strike or Double Strike. So I included these 2 guys because there's a bunch of ways that I can buff any creature that I have on the battlefield. But this guy has awesome abilities that will allow me to like maneuver him in whatever situation I need. Like given if it's like vigilance, he could attack and defend, and then double strike, really good for taking out things like death touch. Flying for evading like most anyone. But yeah, after you go to that, I have this guy, just allows me to add any mana of my color, and then whenever I want to, I can switch it, turn it into another bird um, and just add it onto the battlefield. Although I don't really need them. I reckon I could probably just take them out right now and be fine. Besides that, I have things like expel the interlopers, blah blah blah. Sorry. So choose a number between 0 and 10. Destroy all the creatures with power equal to or greater than that chosen number. Super dope for board wipes. Also, Starfall Invocation. You can't see my you can't see the card. But it's another one of those board wipe cards. Destroy all creatures. Pretty dope. Pretty dope. There's that Chokobo racetrack I got to earlier. And then when you get to lands, anything that you're running with like landfall, you want to use cards like Fabled Passage or Evolving Wilds because you put it onto the board and the game considers that a land played, and then you sacrifice it. Look through your library for whatever color you want. That's the other thing too. Is like if you're stuck, if you have a 2 color deck, 3 color deck, and you are just drawing one color, and you have all these cards that need like a white or a green, and you only have islands. This guy will let you get past that basically, because then you can just straight shortcut to whatever mana color that you need. And so try to include a few of those because it's really good for the landfall element and getting the mana that you need in your turn. And then I'll add a couple of the standard forests and plains. But White also has Lupin Flower Village, which is a really nice land that I added. You can like use it to summon creatures and stuff, but also if you like pay its cost and then sacrifice it, you can look at the top six cards of your library, and then you could get like a bird or a rabbit or a squirrel, I think, bat, bunch of things. But you put it into your hand, put the rest in your library. So like it's a bird deck. It's a land, and it helps me get the birds that I need. And oftentimes it's gonna be something rare like the traveling chocobo, which is so helpful. It is so nice. I am very proud of this deck. Um, I think I may as well try to take it out. Try to take it out for a spin. You get the picture on the deck. You probably can't. I just like never looked at it. Anyway, this is the usual sort of starting way that I want to go. I usually want to have both mana types that I'm playing, but I don't have those here. But that's all right because I have my evolving mind, which will allow me to just go a forest. I mean, I don't need to play that. Let's play that. Let's play this guy. Get our chocobo out, and then yeah. Next turn we can decide between running the side quest or the shoe puff. If we run the shoe puff, there's gonna be too much creature because of the chocobo is a huge target, easy target for anyone trying to. So I think I'm gonna diversify the danger and add a second bird in there, and in that way, I'm gonna while this bird is building, I'm gonna buff this bird as much as possible to spread the threats on either one. So, not putting my eggs in all one basket. We got this. We got this. All right, so this is the at the beginning of your combat turn, up to one other target creature become. Okay. All right. I think I'm just gonna go for raw power here. Just raw aggression. We're gonna go aggro. So I'm gonna play this Rite of Shapu, which every time I play land, it's getting I can put a +1/+1 counter on whoever. Anytime I play a land, this guy gets a +1/+1 counter anyway. So this is gonna be great. That's what I mean. So we play this land, buff this guy, that guy buffs himself over there, and then we just run it, sacrifice this guy. Looks like I need two planes for all the cards that I have in my deck, so I'm just gonna go straight for planes. Add up those things again. And by turn 3, we have a 6/4 and a 3/4. Attacking. Going full speed. Oh no. Oh, just her. That's just her. Exactly what I was expecting. Ah, I almost lost this chocobo. It sucks. Oh, oh. I don't think I have anything that destroys what's it called? Enchantment. I need a destroy enchantment card in here. Time. Let's stop. I think I'm gonna target this. I'm gonna target my enchantment. I can't. This is perfect. Let's target this enchantment. Get that off of me. give this guy lifelink plus ward. Perfect. Should draw a card now that I've stocked my pantry. I have 4 free draws over here as long as I pay 2 mana for each. I guess they're not free then, huh? Why did I say that? I don't know. Alright. What do we got? Raspberry hibiscus tea today. It's freaking amazing. It's freaking great. I love hibiscus tea. Hibiscus tea is great. The Mexicans, they call the hibiscus tea Jamaica. And let me tell you, there's something that shit. Oh, it's great. Oh, Lord. I would know. Let's see. So we got a looping. I can't experiment. I could sacrifice my Lupin Forest. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and use my pantry. I think I'm gonna use the Lupin Forest, like kind of like as a last case scenario. If I'm like creatures that don't have any creatures, then I want to use that. But for right now, I think the both just use the general to go with this pantry. Okay, at some point I need to clear the board, maybe. Like after, if he kills this guy, I'm gonna try that. But if not, for right now, this character is so strong that I can just face the damage that he deals to me. It's a 10-10 with lifelink, so yeah, 34 health. I have 14 more health than when the game started. Finding that I think I'm gonna activate the abilities first. Have a landfall card that gets you down. Peace track. That'll be good. That'll be good for next turn. All right, I might as well draw again. Thick. It would be nice if I had the trample. Not seeing right now. That's we have a pretty good setup. So that should attack me with all the creatures in here. Maybe just swing at him and we end the game. But oh. What do we got? Got one creature left. Running and stuff. Okay. I need on the field. Back up. Card. Run the Chokobo. Whoop. This is just dragging on. Oh. Hey. Hey. Guess that's me. Me just running it. But that is the deck. That is the deck. That is the Chokobo move. The Chokobo deck in action. Thank you for watching. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Conway Twitty.